Okay, go ready. On. Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Pastor Rafael Berlanga from the Premier Baptist Church of Fort Worth. After the invocation, please remain standing for the pledges. Good
morning, Judge. Welcome. Let us pray. Dear Lord Father, we, your children, gather in your presence this morning to honor you and to worship you, to just praise you for the life that you've given us, the salvation that we have. We thank you that we are given the gifts to serve you, Father, by serving others. And so I thank you for this court as they do their work, Father, to serve the people of this county. Father, may you give them wisdom that they may serve well. Father, give them the ability, Father, to discern between right and wrong and to always choose the right. Father, bless this county, watch over it, and protect it. We worship you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Pastor, for coming out today. We appreciate it. Mr. Manius?
Good morning, Your Honor, members of court. We have several announcements as it relates to the agenda this morning, but first of all, this is going to be the court session that we approve budgets and pass tax rates. So we're going to have some public hearings. We're not going to ask that you take any action on the first two public hearings and probably not the third one either. And then we'll take action as we get into the different sections within the agenda. That being said, under the as I said, there's three corrections that we want to point out. First of all, under the Administrator section, item 9A2, there's a revised court communication in your red folder. There was just one number was off, and we've made that correction, and so we'll point that out whenever we get to that particular item. Members of court, we could also go to Public Health. This is item 9F, 11, and 12, both of those. There are revised court communications in your red folder on this also. The only thing that changed in those contracts, the initial contracts had the amount of the increase in the contract. Working with the auditor's office, there was a request that we put the total dollar amount of those contracts in there, and we made those corrections, and so those are the dollar amounts stay the same. It just reflects the total dollar amount on the contracts itself. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of September the 11th.
Move for approval of the minutes.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Commissioner Brooks. Motion passes unanimously. We have, Commissioner Brooks, I believe you have a proclamation.
I do, and it's for ratification only. But let me tell you a little bit about it. It is in recognition of one of Fort Worth's finest pastors, the Reverend A.E. Chu, the pastor of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church out on the north side. Reverend Chu is retiring this month at the age of 90 after 57 years of service to that congregation and to this community. He has provided years of outstanding leadership to the citizens of Tarrant County, and I just thought we needed to say thank you. And that's what this proclamation is about. So I move its ratification. It was to have been presented to him this past Sunday, but he's been in the hospital, so we'll get it to him at some point.
I will second, and I'd like to make a comment about Reverend Chew. He and I believe it was Bert Williams, was playing in a round of golf out at Colonial one day. And after we finished 9 holes, he said, "I've got a funeral in 30 minutes. I enjoyed it. We'll see you." But he was a great guy, though. And
Part of Reverend Chew's every day was some golf.
We have a motion and a
Outstanding
second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Court members, you have before you the consent agenda as revised by Mr. Manius.
Move approval of the consent agenda as revised by Mr. Manius.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Public hearings.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we could go to the public hearings, item A, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court conduct a public hearing to consider salaries of certain elected county and precinct officials and officers contained within the Tarrant County government's fiscal year 2016 budget as required by statute. This announcement has been posted in the local newspaper, and we're requesting a public hearing at this time.
This time I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter. There appearing to be none, then I will close the public hearing.
Members of the court, if we can go to item B, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court conduct a public hearing as it relates to Tarrant County government's fiscal year 2016 budget. As with the previous public hearing, the notices, all proper notices have been published relating to this particular request.
This time I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter. There appearing to be none, then I will close the public hearing.
Ms. Ward will do item 3. I'm sorry, item C.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court conduct a public hearing to receive input into the PY 2014 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, the CAPER. That reports expenditures for a Community Development Block Grant, for the Home Grant, and for the Emergency Solutions Grant.
I will open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter. There appearing to be none, then I will close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, if we could go to the administrator's section. We're requesting, on item A1, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the compensation expenses and allowances for certain county and precinct officers as required by Chapter 152 of the Texas Local Government Code.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, on item number 2, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve Tarrant County's budget for fiscal year 2016. If I might, this just say that the general fund is $489,864,888. Road and Bridge Fund is $33,461,559, and the Debt Service Fund is $38,306,979 for a total of those three funds of $561,633,426.
move approval.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Roy, you didn't even have to do it this year.
Hey, the motion was not necessary.
What? I said Roy didn't even have to make the motion this year. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
This next one is,
Okey dokey.
Members of the court, if we could go to item number 3, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve Tarrant County government's tax rate for tax year 2015 as follows. Maintenance and operations, .2373 per $100 valuation. interest and sinking, which is the debt service fund, of .0267 per $100 valuation, for a total tax rate of .264 per $100 valuation. This is the current tax year, or the tax rate that we have currently and which we have had for many years.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you all.
Members of the court, if we can go to item number 4. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County Hospital District's fiscal year 2016 budgets. You might note that the Board of Managers have passed this particular budget and are recommending its approval by the court.
Move approval.
Second.
I do have a question, Ms. Clark. Do you have the information I'm looking for, ma'am?
Commissioner Wynn, what was your question?
We met twice, and I asked you about the 2% efficiency improvement, in which it was broadly advertised to the public that JPS was going to be able to produce between now and 2018. I think it's important that we follow through on that commitment. Can you demonstrate that saving that we talked about so often?
Yes, the 2%, there was some savings embedded in the 2016 budget as proposed. However, we did focus on maintaining a 2% margin for the overall hospital. We were able to expand services. So if all of our services were kept equal, we did identify a 2% efficiency improvement, but we continued to expand services up to the point where we maintained a 2% net income.
So basically, we were able to save some money, but we spent that saving in other areas to
We
expand
did.
the service.
Yes, sir.
On the mission of the hospital, which is to treat the indigent, and as many of them as we possibly can.
Correct.
Well, the issue that I have is in the public presentation about the issuance of the $809 million bond package. Part of the financing model was reliant upon a 2 to 3% efficiency improvement. And in my opinion, we must be able to demonstrate the ability to save that 2% so that it will go to the bottom line to pay off any potential bond that we're going to issue down the road. I think it's important that we demonstrate that we are able to do that.
Many of those efficiencies that were mentioned in the bond package were due to some of the physical efficiencies that would come from the new facilities. But what we're asking for today is the approval for the 16 budget. Over the last few years, we have been able to outperform our budget and put cash in the bank. So we have been able to demonstrate some savings over the last few years.
In addition, haven't you also provided additional services in addition to being able to beating the budget, outperforming your budget? So as some of those efficiencies are in an increased volume of either visits from that standpoint, creating new facilities that will build in efficiencies by being able to see a patient, say at the medical homes, at the different medical homes that you're creating, as opposed to bringing them downtown and them being entered in through the ERs.
Yes, we have tried to expand our outpatient services and go out to the communities in that way. Are there any other questions?
The acclaim. There are about $5 million allocated for the UNT clinics and so forth, right? And
Correct.
in the budget presentation, it is stated that in November, then the leadership will come back with a more detailed budget of how much cost it will take to operate the acclaim group. Is that an accurate?
Correct. I believe what we stated is that in the November, December timeframe, as we get more information, that we will be bringing a restated budget back to our Board of Managers and back to the court, but that the bottom line will not be significantly different for the consolidated entity.
Okay, including the operating agreement of the Acclaim Group?
Correct.
Okay, the budget and the operating agreement of the Acclaim Group.
The operating agreement, I believe, will be reviewed by our Board of Managers, not by the Commissioners Court.
I understand, but it will be available to the public to review, right?
I would have to check on that. I'm not sure if that is a public document. I apologize. I just am not sure if I can commit to that.
Ms. Clark, I think I have communicated to you very clearly that we should be able to demonstrate a 2% efficiency saving that will go toward the bottom line to help pay off the debt. Okay? It was a very important component of the financing of the bond package. Okay? And I understand that you are explaining to me that JPS is capable of doing that, but however, we expanded services and consumed that saving instead of moving that money toward a potential issuance of debt to renew the facility and so forth. Okay? And I think I expressed to you my feeling regarding that area. So I cannot support this year's budget because of that particular reason, because I believe if JPS is going to issue an $809 million bond package next year, it is very important that JPS be able to demonstrate the discipline to save that money so that we can contribute toward the pay down of that debt. Okay?
I call a question.
Wait. Didn't you indicate that we had until 2018 to demonstrate those savings?
No, sir. The presentation stated publicly in writing and in public presentation, 2% between now and 2018.
Between now and 2018?
Between now and 2018, 2% per year between now and 2018. And then once the construction, the proposed construction is completed, then 3% for the next 10 years, okay? Every year for the next 10 years. And I have all that claims in writing and on video. And I think it's important that we follow through on that commitment with the public if we are still planning to issue that debt. And I think it's very important that we are demonstrating that commitment to do that.
Very well.
So the 2% that you're looking for, how much would that have been?
About $12 million.
And what is your budget this year? You budgeted originally $24 million, is that correct?
For the savings that we identified was about
What was your budget this year, and how are you doing toward reaching that budget?
The budget that we had for 15 was about $4 million. We are projecting to end September at about $40 million.
40, so that would be 36, so that covers 3 years of your 2% savings right there. So what is your budget for next year?
The budget that we are shooting for next year is about $18 million.
And that 18 million, so that 18 million equates to a 2% savings. That's more than a 2% savings over the 4 million that you budgeted this year.
It also represents a 2% net income.
And how much of the money that you've got into next year's budget is designated for the Arlington Medical Home?
$10 million of construction.
So is it your thought then that you would rather put that 10 million into making sure that we keep the efficiency, or doing the Arlington Medical Home?
Let me correct that real quick. 10 million is for our northeast. The the additional money, or the money that we put into the medical home in the southeast that's already been there. and
How
it's
much
already
was
up.
that?
I can't recall the number.
3 million
I think it was
operations.
I think it was 3 million,
talked
Bill?
about
Do you
that.
remember?
So during this year, you budgeted $4 million. You spent $3 million on the Arlington Medical Home, and you came in with $40 million. So you more than took care of the 2% for the 2015 year. In fact, in the 2015 year, you actually have already accumulated more money than what would have been the 2% savings for 16 and for 17.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just wanted to be sure about that.
For the accumulation,
What would you send money to the bottom line?
it's a 2% efficiency improvement, and we have to be able to see that $16 million.
You just saw it.
Well, that could be an over budgeted, okay, if you look at the JPS budget, 18%.
But what is, if you're talking about a percent, Andy, if you're talking about a 2% better than an efficiency, if they budgeted 4 and they came in at 40, then how much of that 36 is in that 2% efficiency?
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree in this. From my perspective, in a budgeting process, the revenue and the expenses can be designed to basically generate a revenue surplus, okay? But if we stated publicly to the public that we're going to be able to produce 2% of efficiency, which is the equivalent of $12 million per year for the next 10 years, then we got to be able to produce that line item in a budget. And that's the difference, in our opinion.
But don't we have to, I mean, again, it's a managing the budget to produce the efficiencies. We can, I mean, I'm just trying to look at what numbers you're looking at to get to that. Do you want, based upon the number of visits? Do you want, I mean, what metrics do you want to look at to show the 2% efficiency? If we're looking at the bottom line, and so, because you said you wanted cash, so if you want cash, that's the bottom line. And the bottom line says we budgeted 4, we approved a $4 million budget, the Board of Managers looked at it, and that was $4 million. And so through the year, you do everything you can to try to eke out efficiencies. You move people around, you do this, you do that, but you try to improve your budget. And at the end of the year, they ended up, instead of $4 million, they ended up with 40. So it's hard to say, well, that's the one thing that resulted in the 2%, but collectively, through everybody working together, we were more efficient, we saw more people, and instead of only $4 million at the end of the year to put toward this debt payment, we now have $40 million.
You're looking at it from an aggregation standpoint.
From a what?
Aggregated, a total standpoint, okay?
Okay.
If you look at the key operational statistics, the total outpatient visits between FY15 and FY16 increased 1.9%. The total surgery cases increased 0.27%. The birth, the total patient days, the total admissions stayed the same. At the same time, the non-labor operating expenses increased 7.6%. Basically, the key operational statistics stay constant. But the non-labor, not labor, non-labor operating expenses increased 7.6%. And the average healthcare inflation in the United States is 2.49%. That demonstrates the point I'm saying, that the efficiency.
What was the volume increase? What was the population increase of our county? I mean, we're not at the...
The population has nothing to do with it, Judge.
Oh, it doesn't?
The total outpatient visit increased only 1.9%. It doesn't mean that every population go use JPS. You have to look at the key operational statistics of the organization from year 1 to year 2, from FY15 to FY16. And the total operational visits increases only 1.9%, and the total surgery cases increases only 0.27%, which means pretty much stay the same. The volume of business stay the same. But the non-labor operating expenses increased 7.6%.
What are the clinic visits did?
That's the total. That's based on the presentation that you and I have access to.
I do think that as we move forward, I've worked with Sharon and her staff, and I think that there's going to be somewhat an easier way to measure this efficiency, and I think I know how we're going to be able to do that. It's not necessarily denoted in the budget, but I believe that we'll be able to accomplish that, and we'll report back to you and on how it's moving forward on accomplishing that.
And I would guess the comment that I would make is that all the presentations, there were questions about whether or not we could hit the budgets that were proposed and projected for years out. I want to congratulate you on doing much better than what your budget was for this year. And historically, you have continued to do that. And so I feel good going forward. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes 4-1.
Members of court, if we can go to item number 5, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County Hospital District's tax rate for tax year 2015 as follows. Management and operations, .226491 per $100 valuation. Interest and sinking, .001406 per $100 valuation, for a total tax rate of .227897 per $100 valuation. This is the same as the current tax rate for the hospital district.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes 4-1.
That should be filed, sorry.
Unanimously.
Members of the court, if we could move to item number 6, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court receive and file the Tarrant County Emergency Services District Number 1 fiscal year 2016 budget.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we can go to item number 7, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County Emergency Services District Number 1 tax rate for tax year 2015 as follows. Maintenance and operations, .08 per $100 valuation. You might note that the interest and sinking amount is 0, and the total tax rate is .08 per $100 valuation, which is the current tax rate.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Ms. McMillan is going to do item 8.
Judge, Commissioners, we're asking the Commissioners Court to approve the resolution providing for the approval of the issuance of Series 2015 Retirement Facility Revenue Bonds in one or more series by the Tarrant County Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation for Barton Creek Senior Living Center, Incorporated, in an amount not to exceed $140 million. The proceeds of these bonds will be used to refund outstanding $37.7 million worth of principal amount for 2005 Travis County Health Facilities Development Corporation facility revenue bonds, and the balance will be used to add independent living, assisted living, memory care, and nursing units to the existing Carencia at Barton Creek facility in Austin. You may recall that Carencia at Barton Creek is one of 6 senior living facilities in the Senior Quality Lifestyles Corporation structure, one of which is also the Staten at Museum Place here in Fort Worth. Since 2006, the Tarrant County Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation has done several issuances for the properties under the Senior Quality Lifestyles Corporation structure. All notifications and certifications have been made by the borrower.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Glenn?
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item, we're asking the court to receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for the tax office. As explained in your court communique, motor vehicle manager retired with 324 vacation hours. Mr. Wright is requesting a waiver of 84 of those hours effective September 12th. We're estimating the net cost to the general fund to be a little more than $3,000, including fringe benefits.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And Judge, if I could take just 1 minute, please, just to...
Jack appreciates that.
Pardon?
Jack appreciates you taking 1 minute.
Great. Thank you, Jack. So I just want to remind the county family that we have our biometric screenings underway. We actually had our first event this morning at Juvenile Services. It wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. We have 2 additional events that I want to remind county staff about. We have an event on September 18th, which is this Friday. We have an event on September 22nd. Dr. Norris did send out an email advising employees of these biometric screenings. Just as a reminder, we can look at your body mass index, whether you like it or not. We can look at your blood pressure, your glucose, your cholesterol. In our wellness program or through our wellness program, by going through the screening process, you can actually earn 150 points. So this is a great opportunity for employees who are trying to earn 300 points. You can get half of them by just attending this event. Employees are asked to register for their appointments. There are slots available on the 18th, and by the way, that happens at the Resource Connection. The event on the 22nd is at the Plaza Building downtown.
Have we had a rush of just registrations since our last?
Not a rush. We have, for the event on Friday, we can accept up to 100 participants. We have 52 currently, so we have some there. And the event on the 22nd, we can take up to 250, and right now we've booked at 125.
And one of those is me.
One of those is you. Excellent.
Are we not doing PSAs this year?
Ms. Worthy says no.
Why not?
Have we done PSAs in the past?
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
When we switched to the UHC wellness program, this is what they offer with their biometrics.
Well, it's not sufficient.
We'll chat with them and see if we can't get that added back in.
We'll certainly look into it. And if anybody has questions or if you're interested in an appointment, you can contact Dr. Norris at extension 7036.
And it is not too late to still earn the $300. You have until the end of October. So if you were to go online and register and take your little health survey, get this biometrics done, that's going to be quite a few points right there. And then it's just a matter of doing a couple of videos, and which are pretty short, very short. You can qualify
difficult.
pretty quickly.
And we'll take a look at the PSA screening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, Jack. How are them Rockets, baby?
I thought ours was an all consent agenda today.
Yeah, you messed up. You didn't think there'd be any problem with it not being an all consent agenda before Toledo got hold of you.
Somebody reminded me that this is not a rebuilding year for us, we're just always under construction. I have a couple of Arkansas Toledo tickets I'd offer at the cheap for memorabilia purposes.
Do they have tears on them?
Well, the weather was great, the tailgate party was great, the free Brad Paisley concert was great, the game wasn't so good. We did get whipped, we didn't just get beat. Unfortunately, the folks around me turned into comedians towards the end of the game. I ran out of lemonade in the third quarter. That was not a good thing. One of the guys behind me made a comment. I'm thinking, y'all can hide in the trees. I got to drive back to Texas. Sunday, some guy said, "Holy Toledo, Batman." That wasn't too funny to me. And guy with a big booming voice said, "Elvis has left the building." My thought was he didn't friggin' show up to the concert, but the only thing that's going to be better is we do play Texas Tech in Fayetteville Saturday. Mr. Shugart and I are headed out to God's country. If we were to lose, he can be reached in email in Toadsuck, Arkansas, because I'm going to leave him there.
A long walk back. I might reconsider whose car you go in.
We do have 8 items for your consideration this morning. Kind of out of the ordinary, I'd like to recommend approval of items 1 and 2. Item 1 is an RFP 2015-098. This is for professional consultant services for development and research of a public health laboratory information management system proposal document. Item number 2 is RFP 2015-099 for the same thing for the for the medical examiner's office. These awards will be to the same vendor, Lab Answer Government, $123,007 for 2015-098, and $136,675 for RFP 2015-099. We are seeking contract approval if these items are approved. Chris, our CIO, is here to answer questions on those RFPs. I thought it would be good to have him do that because they are so similar, and thought the court might have questions on these 2 items.
Are these 2 systems integrated in any way?
Good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
The 2 systems, the RFP that is being issued right now is to have Lab Answer do the assessment, the analysis, and develop the requirements for the solution acquisition. So we don't know at this point.
I would like to suggest to you that perhaps all of our health management information systems ought to be able to talk to each other.
Oh, that's correct. Where the requirements require any sort of integration, that has been taken into account as the assessment will be done.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I do not have a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Of both items?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chris.
Item number 3 is a bid award recommendation for RFP 2015-140. It's an RFP for the Tarrant County Jail System Food and Services. Recommendation will be to award per the terms of the contract, selecting as our primary vendor 5 Star Correctional Services, as our secondary vendor Aviance.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 4, again, is a bid award recommendation for bid 2015-169. This is a bid for LED lighting conversion for the Tarrant County Taylor Street parking garage. Recommendation will be toward the low bidder, All Fair Electric, in the amount of $323,998. If this is approved, seeking contract approval as well as acceptance of the payment and the performance bond.
Is this designed to save us money in the long-term go-forward period?
About half.
About half what? Half money or half
It's
go
half.
forward?
Our electric bill for that building is about $50,000 or so a year. We should get it around 26, 27, 25. We demonstrated on the Calhoun garage about 4 years ago. We went to LED lights. We went from 26,000 to 13,000.
Is that just on the electric? What, the lifespan of those is significantly longer, I would think.
Yes, Commissioner, and these we're buying today have a 10-year warranty on them. We've had failures on the Calhoun garage, and we had to pay labor to get them off there and put them back on, but the fixtures are free.
Good. That's efficiency improvement right there.
I'm glad
And we
qualifies.
determine that by the amount of money we save. No other discussion, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I'm glad we able to have. Despite our disagreement, I'm just glad we have one.
Number 5 is another bid award recommendation for bid 2015-172. This is a bid for the Lancaster Annex Roof Retrofit. Recommendation be to award the low bidder, WCR Construction, the amount of $554,690. Again, we're seeking contract approval and acceptance of the payment and performance bond.
Move for approval.
I second.
We have a motion, a second.
I'm trying to envision where the Lancaster Annex is.
CPS. It's on Ben Street.
It's on Ben Street. Why is it the Lancaster Annex?
Because it's close to Lancaster.
Intersection of Lancaster.
It's pretty far away from Lancaster. I mean, I kind of agree with him. I mean, this thing's on Penn Street. It doesn't, the playground may touch Lancaster.
Okay.
Sounds better.
It's at the intersection of Lancaster and Ben Street.
Thank you, Mr. Manning.
Phillips ain't gonna come rescue you.
Yeah, he's staying back on this one.
One more chance?
No. Motion passed unanimously.
Number 6 item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2015-187. This is our annual contract for reinforced concrete pipe, culverts, and safety end treatments. Recommendation be to award on a pre-enterprise basis and discount from list price, awarding to the primary and secondary vendors as shown in the court communique.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Number 7 item is again a bid award recommendation for bid 2015-190. This is our annual contract for medical examiner supplies. Recommendation be to award on a pre-enterprise basis, awarding to the primary and secondary vendors as shown in the court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank goodness for our last item. It's a bid award recommendation for bid 2015-196, annual contract for trash removal services. Recommendation be to award on a per enterprise basis, awarding to Republic Services Incorporated.
Move for approval.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Sue.
Yes, Suey. Are there any appointments today? Being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
A motion, a second, to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius?
Your Honor, we do not have any briefing items, but I would like to introduce someone that you may be seeing around and working on the Tarleton State contract. Daniel Clarkson. Daniel, where are you? Daniel is in his final semester at TCU. He's working as an intern in our office with the Criminal Justice Office. He is assisting us in the research and the planning effort, which was related to the criminal justice study that we've contracted with Tarleton State.
Right.
Excellent.
So, welcome, Daniel.
Does a kid from TCU even know where Tarleton State is?
Good answer.
That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
Then we will recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempted under Section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government. Return from our closed meeting. We don't have anything.
We do not, there's nothing to do.
Having returned from our closed meeting and we not having anything, adjourned.